We take you to West Virginia, where pro-lifers are calling on Democratic Senator Joe Manchin to confirm Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. In the state called Wild and Wonderful, you don't have to wonder where pro-life West Virginians stand on President Trump's Supreme Court nominee.
West Virginians want to see Judge Kavanaugh confirmed.
We would like to urge Senator Joe Manchin to confirm President Trump's nominee Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court.
Confirm Judge Kavanaugh, and West Virginia voters are watching and will hold him accountable. We're here outside Senator Joe Manchin's office to send him a message that West Virginians expect him to vote to confirm Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court.
This West Virginia rally to confirm Kavanaugh to the court is just one of the Susan B. Anthony list's 7-state, 32-stop tour. We joined up with them from Wheeling to Fairmont, right outside Senator Manchin's office. The Democratic senator facing re-election walks a tightrope when it comes to the pro-life issue.
He's really flip-flop, and my understanding is he says one thing at home and does something different when he goes to Washington.
One notable example is when last April, Senator Manchin posed with a "I stand with Planned Parenthood" sign. 1 month later, he then stood with a "We don't need Planned Parenthood" poster with Students for Life.
I am in that photo with Senator Manchin holding this "We don't need Planned Parenthood" sign, so I know firsthand how he can flip-flop and how he can betray us and the pro-life constituents of West Virginia.
The Susan B. Anthony list and other pro-lifers hope to put the pressure on Manchin and other Democrats up for re-election as Kavanaugh faces Capitol Hill hearings this week. For the Democrat in a red state, the life issue cannot be a gray area.
Pro-life is very important. We believe in life. It's important from conception and natural death, truly.
A recent poll found 57% of West Virginia voters believe abortion policy for their state should be decided by elected officials in West Virginia. And 59% want Senator Manchin to confirm President Trump's Supreme Court nominee.
You know, the senators are not in a vacuum. They know they have to be reelected, and they also know that they're supposed to represent their constituents. So our people are going to door trying to develop some political pressure on these senators to do, frankly, what they ought to do anyway, which is support the will of the people in their states.
For reaction and analysis, we're joined by Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony list. Marjorie, good to see you.
Great to see you, Catherine.
Now, these rallies that you guys are holding are part of a 7-state, 32-stop tour. How are you choosing your locations?
Yeah, 7 states, 32 stops. It's a lot. And all that energy is put into those particular states because 6 of them are states where we have vulnerable senators up for re-election. They are pro-abortion senators. They are big Trump states, states where Trump won. And we know that by being there, going door to door, talking to the citizens there, we've already reached 1.5 million homes in those places, that it will make a big impact on the on Election Day in terms of who wins. We need to deliver a much stronger pro-life Senate so that we can continue to have great votes on judges and pro-life legislation.
When it comes to putting the pressure on the senators to confirm Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, how are you expecting Senator Manchin to vote there?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Senator Manchin, it is really difficult to know. I've met with him more than once. He's very good and adept at arguing both sides of the case. He's very good and adept at convincing you that he's on your side even when he's not. He's a very lovable human being. West Virginians like him. I think it's possible we will get his vote, but until he says that he's voting for Judge Kavanaugh, we don't assume anything. He did vote for Justice Gorsuch, which was good, but this is pivotal, this moment where it could be the erosion or overturn eventually of Roe. The left is putting immense, unimaginable pressure on him and Senator Donnelly from Indiana, who was another one to keep our eye on, and also Senator Casey from Pennsylvania.
Excellent. We'll be sure to keep following those senators as well. As Brett Kavanaugh begins his Capitol Hill hearings this week, we saw Women's March activists protest it. A lot of pro-abortion senators speaking out about Roe v. Wade. Senator Dianne Feinstein asking Kavanaugh, do you believe Roe v. Wade is correct law? Are there any misconceptions being thrown out there right now regarding Roe v. Wade that you want to address?
Oh yeah, I mean the strategy of the left, of the abortion rights movement so-called, is to terrify American women, to frighten politicians who might vote in the pro-life direction. How do they do that? They do it by saying that immediately as Justice Kavanaugh is confirmed, Roe versus Wade will be overturned, women will be sent to jail, abortion will be immediately illegal 100% in every single state. Now, we would pray that that would be true, but the reality is what will happen eventually, what we believe that it will be either eroded or overturned, that about a third of the states will have some very strongly pro-life protections. We don't, of course, know exactly. That's part of what Susan B. Anthony List is doing right now. A third of the states will absolutely reject any protections whatsoever, California, New York, Vermont, et cetera. And then a third will have an intense debate, battleground. This will be pro-life battleground states that we'll be looking at and making sure that we are allowing in these and all states that the will of the people and not the opinions of judges who are not elected, the will of the people is allowed to make itself into law. That is poll after poll shows in all the states that we're in right now, where you visited, West Virginia is one of them. That's what people want. They think the will of the people, not unelected judges, should decide what abortion law is in this country.
So what are the next steps? What are the next steps when it comes to confirming Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court?
Well, it's moving very quickly. The hearings will wrap up at the end of this week. The goal is, of course, to have a new justice on the Supreme Court when this session begins, and that will be October 1st. So the vote should be wrapped up by September 30th, if all goes well.
Right, and as you said, this is a pivotal time now for all of us to be watching.
It is indeed.
Marjorie Dannenfelser, President of the Susan B. Anthony List, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.